I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do tonight, but I thought, well, let's just do some lab time. So that's what we're going to do. So first off, can I see if there's any questions? Anybody's got any questions we can start with? Hi, everybody. Okay, I don't see any questions. So let's just start looking at this stuff. Um, like we said before, lab time's kind of important, and I got the message from Holly a little after noon that I would be doing the webinar tonight, and so I thought, well, what could I do? I didn't have anything ready, so to speak. So I thought, well, what? I got in my generations, and I just started looking at stuff, and I go, you know what? Let's just do some lab time. I thought we'd mess around with these punch tools because I don't use them a heck of a lot. I use them a little bit, but they can be kind of fun. Um, so I thought we'd just start going through them and see what they can do. And while I was messing around with them this afternoon, I found some kind of cute, fun little things, so that I hadn't done before with it. So we'll just see how this goes, and let's just get started. So these are the punch tools down here. Or they're down here on my screen. I don't know where they are. They might possibly be on your screen. But let's just get started. We'll start with this one. And this is the round corner rectangle. And when you left click on one of these, you get this little box. And in this box, there's a bunch of information. It says type and it says area. So you can touch here and you can do an area or you can do a line. So you can do the round corner rectangle. You can either do it as a line or you can do it as an area. Okay, so when you got it for a line, then you can come down here and go whether you want a tripper run, basting stitch, blanket, whatever you want it to be. And then you can change your color there too. Okay. I don't know. We'll do an area just cause. Okay, so you just left click at the left corner and you drag, and you get a square. You can do a rectangle. Hold your control key down, and then you can do a rectangle. So, and then you get these little boxes. And when you put your cursor over it and you get that, see how it spreads out like a star? Then you can do stuff. So this, when you move that rectangle, you can turn it into a circle. Or you can turn it the other way, all the way into a square. So I do that all the time with these. Enter, escape, now we got it. And I when I'm doing this stuff, I always lose them. Just click on this up here, and then it's back in the middle of your screen. When I play with these punch tools, it happens to me all the time. Okay, so now we have this square. And it's just a square. It is no different from a square that you make using this. Exactly the same. The only thing is you can make it with rounded corners, which can come in kind of handy. I actually use this one, and what I use this one for, I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to do it again. What I use this for is, I'm going to make a rectangle. This is really, really, and I don't want to mess with that, so I'm just going to hit Enter and Escape. What I use this for with these rounded corners is when I'm making my in the hoop zipper bags and stuff, because you really don't want square corners on that stuff, and this gives you those nice rounded corners that are easy to push out and whatever. So it can be kind of handy. And like I said, you can do it as a fill like that. Now let's just do it as a line, just so you can see, and then you can just do it. Enter, escape as a line, either way. So that one's a little bit handy. I don't need to say that. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, now we got the punch ring. It's this one right here, and it's like a donut. Okay, and we have the same type of things here. We can do an area, or we can do a line. And when you're in area, you go into complex fill and you get this little button, and you can do it as an applique, an arc, complex fill, cross stitch, fluid contour, motif, radial, satin, spiral. Okay, so we're just going to do one. Whoop. Okay, and it gives you a rounded square. This little box changes the size of the interior. And this one will go to a circle or go to a square. And when you move this top one here on the outside line, it changes both of them. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter and escape, and now I have this. Now, this would be so much more useful, I think, if you've got it, you look at it, there it is, and you go, oh, you know what, I want it to be, half this width. Okay, it would be so nice if you do undo and go back, or get the settings again, but you can't. You just have to start over. And so that makes it kind of hard to use in some situations. So that's what that one does. So we're going to get rid of that. And let's see. Let's go to this one. So we'll go to this cross here. And the same deal. You come over to this little box, and you can do it in a line. You can do it in area. You can do it any of those things: spiral, satin, radial. Let's do it as a spiral just because we can. Okay, left click and drag, and now we have our cross, and here's our little square node, and this is what it does. You can take it out like that, you can bring it in like that, and anywhere in between. So you can make some interesting things with that. So I'm going to hit enter and escape. Oh, and that's kind of cool with the spiral. It looks kind of neat. Any questions so far? Let me see. Lorena says that the rounded corners were great for tags and bookmarks. Yes, yeah. The rounded corners is a nice. That's a nice feature of that, and that's a nice way to get them. So okay, I don't see any more questions. So all right, let's move on to the next one. And delete. All righty, let's see. Oh, this one. This is the sector in the arch. Okay, and here's this little box, and you can do area or line. You can do applique, arc, all the different things in the fills. Okay, and then you come down here where it says sector. You can do sector, arc line, arch, or the sector. Okay, I'm going to show you what the sector is. So left click and drag. Left click and drag, and this is what they call the sector. Now here, this one moves it this way, and that little square moves it this way. And you can't close it into a circle, but you can make a nice little Pac-Man or whatever. So enter and escape. All right, so we'll move that one up out of the way. All right, let's grab it again. And we're going to go into here, and we're going to take arch. Okay, left click and drag. Okay, this would be the arch. So it's kind of the round thing, and with a straight side. And you can move this all the way around. And then this one just does the same thing, go in the other direction. So, and you can bring it so you really get a circle. So enter and escape, and that's the other one. Okay, now the third one, the arc line, you must make this a line or it doesn't do anything. So you have to change the type from an area to a line, and then you can get an arc line. Okay, so now we're going to left click and drag, and we get this. And now we can do the same thing. Just to move that, no, I guess that would be a node is what it is. You can move it, and this one that way, and that's what that does with a line. So enter and escape, and then you have that. So that's what you can do with that one. And I don't think I have ever used it for anything, but that doesn't mean that somebody else might not want to use it and do something with it. So let's get rid of that. I don't want to save those. And now we're going to open. Oops, not open. Excuse me. We're going to do the next one. Okay, so now here's something that I thought was kind of fun. Okay, this is a spiral. Okay, and you can do this as a line only. But you know, if you want satin, you can do satin because you could do a satin border, which is a line in the end. As you see here, you can do a basting stitch, blanket stitch, buttonhole, double run, motif border, run, running cross, satin border, triple run. Okay, and then there's these things here, and I don't even mess with them. One is how big it is, and one is how much room there is between the lines. But we just do that by making the spiral. Okay, so we've got a triple one spiral, and we'll do that. So left click and drag, and here's our spiral. All right, now you've got 3 nodes. Okay, this node in the middle, you can just take it out from the middle. Okay, this one, you can make it smaller from the outside. And this one is the distance between your lines. Let me get it. Okay. See, I do that all the time. Let's hit enter and escape, then come up here and hit that and bring it back to my screen. I do it all the time when I'm doing these. So that's a triple run spiral. Now, that's different from, let me do this. That's different from the spiral you can do here with the complex fill area, and then you do the spiral here. Let's make it a 3. Okay, it's different than this one. This one is a double run and only a double run, and you know you can't change how many spirals you can. You can change the density and do it that way, but you can't really open up this one. You can open up the center if you want. So they're a little different. And this one you can make a single run, you can make it a double run, you can make it a triple run. Okay, so I was messing with this today, and this was kind of fun. And I was in there. I'm going to get rid of this one. And I was in with this spiral, and I was trying stuff, and I thought, you know what? How about a buttonhole spiral? Now, I mean, who would think? But it's kind of cool. All right. So here we go. And I'm going to make it a little wider, just so we can see. And I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to hit enter and escape. And now, I don't know if you can see that, but this is technically a buttonhole. You can see that space in the middle. So I thought, okay, that's kind of weird, different. Okay, so then I went into, I hit my space bar and I went into properties. I have never done anything with a buttonhole. I don't even think I realized we had this buttonhole thing in here. Okay, I'm going to move this over to the side so we can see this. Okay, so you go into buttonhole, and there's different kinds of buttonholes. Okay, right now it's a zigzag, which is fine. The gap is 0.25, and you can't really see the gap there, so I'm going to make the gap 1, and I'm going to hit apply. See, so now you can actually kind of see that that's like a buttonhole in a spiral, just because we're messing around here and having fun and whatever. Um, and then let's change the density and see what we get. Oh, that looks kind of cool. It's got kind of a light, little feathery thing on there. You can see that. And then let's see what else we can do. I don't know. Has anybody else used these buttonholes? I I I know I'd seen it. Let me move this over. I know I'd seen it, but I don't think I'd ever done anything with it. And I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. If I was making a snail, that might be kind of cool for the inside of the snail shell. Um, but the buttonhole, it's a line, and you just make a line, and then you can hit the space bar and go to the properties and go down to buttonhole. And I'm just going to hit apply, and okay. Look at that. It's a buttonhole. I didn't even know this software did that. But let's just look at some of the settings we can, since we're in here, let's just look at some of the settings we can do with this. Okay, buttonhole. All right, the gap isn't very big, so I'm going to make the gap 0.75 just so we have something to look at. All right. Oh, and I keep getting out. I don't want to do that. All right, so what else do we have here? We have zigzag, and the zigzag is just like a satin stitch. I had to look this up in the manual because I've never even used it. And then they've got what they call E-stitch, and you can't really notice a difference here. But the E-stitch, it says it's more like a blanket stitch. So there's it's there's a line and it's perpendicular to it. I'm going to change the density to a 1.5 just so you can see things a little better. And let me get rid of this. So I want to bring that up so we can see it better. Okay, so it has a line here and then like the zigzag. And I really, that's the E stitch, which they say, which in the manual says it's like a blanket stitch. Now that's the zigzag. So you can see now the line runs down the middle, and on the E stitch, apply, it's here, so it comes off of that line. Interesting. And then you can do it as a cross too. Look at that. I mean, now that's kind of neat, to do it like as a cross stitch. Okay, so you've got that, and let's see what this width, if we can get any width on there. Nope. You have to change. That's what when you change the width here. These are the caps, and that's these things. And so you have to change the width on the caps too, otherwise it won't work. Let's see, there we go. So then that made it wider. There's a zigzag. See, so that's how you get your wider buttonhole. But you have to make sure that you change your caps width too, otherwise it won't work. And then head type, that was kind of cool. You can do a zigzag, a line, or a circle. So this is what zigzag looks like. I'm going to have to click OK and get out of there so I can move this. See, and that just changed it. The line, they just went this way, like a bar tack, your regular bar tack. Now the zigzag did a little line like that. I'm gonna go back into the properties. I had never gone in here. I had never looked at this stuff. This is what lab time is about. You find some new things, and this actually could come in pretty handy. Buttonholes. So let's make this a circle and see what we can do there. It's that with a circle. It says peak degree is how high the circle goes. See, that's kind of weird. Okay, and the width is 4. Let's make our height 4. Hmm. And I don't know how we'd get rid of that. Let's see. Peak degree is 8. Height, let's try 2. That brings it down there. Density 1, height 2, width, peak degree 8. Let's see what we get with 2. Oh, okay, there we go. And now let's make it a height of 6. Okay, but that's kind of weird. I would think it would fill in that circle. And if anybody knows how to make that fill in or something, let me know because I'm not really sure. Any questions so far? Anything more you want to see here? All right, let's see. Oh, Loretta says it's not a buttonhole, it's a lollipop. See, Loretta's used them. Somebody wants to know what the underlay is for the buttonhole. Okay, let's take a look at that. Go to stitch settings. Let's look at our underlay. It says the underlay is a zigzag. It must be let's do this. I'm gonna run it on the stitch player and just see what it does. I don't see it. I just saw a line. It says it was a zigzag. Hmm. All right, so let's see what we can do about that. Let's go back in. I'm going to change the underlay and see what happens. Let's put a grid over there too. And click OK, and now let's see what happens. Nope, doesn't do anything. Okay, so I guess underlay is not a issue with the buttonholes on here. Okay, let's check the questions again. Nancy says if set up correctly, the zigzag buttonhole could be used to stitch down and around a zipper. Oh yeah, yeah. The only issue is you can't. It closes off at both ends. So it would be like on a purse or something where you don't, not like a jacket or a blouse, but like if you're doing a purse or a little pocket thing, that would work. That might be kind of cool. Okay, Nancy, you try that. I want to see that. Nana Ray says change the peak, which we did. Maria says try the peak at 0. Oh, Samantha says the buttonhole is considered a line. You can only have a run stitch underneath like a satin border. Excellent. And then Fran says if we make the buttonhole wider, we would get a zigzag. Okay. So let's see. Let's go back into these stitch settings. See, this is lab time. This is how you find out stuff. Like I said, I have never looked at this stuff. Okay, first off, we're taking those back to a line. And then let's try an 8. We'll make that an 8, and we'll make that an 8. And we'll click apply. Okay, let's make a circle. Gotta make the pig 0. Let's see now what happens. Apply. Okay. Mm. Oh, okay. So with the line type, you tell it how many lines you want for your bar tack. Okay, and I've got the height at 6. That's why it's so different than this one. So like we'll make it the same as this one, 1.5. Yeah, see? But there's 8 lines in a bar tack right there. Well, that's pretty cool. I might end up using that for something someday. Um, oh yeah, we were going to check out the underlay on this while we had it wider. Let's see. The underlay. We got zigzag and grill. Okay, let's see. Let's run it through the stitch thing and see what happens. Nope. No underlay. I get it that with a line, that's all you're going to get is a line that it's considered a line, so all you get is a line underlay. That makes sense. So, okay, let me see if there's any other questions. Leonora wants to know what I was in when I found the buttonhole. I just tried the buttonhole on that spiral, and I thought it looked kind of interesting with all those lines around it. Shirley says so if you were going to use for a zipper, 1 or 2 lines would work. Possibly. That's just like I said. I have never used it. I mean, I'd seen it. I just didn't know it was there. But like, this is what lab time's about, and checking things out, and trying the underlay, and trying all those different settings, and trying to figure out what they do and stuff. And so, okay, that was kind of fun. Like I said, I was in the spiral when I found that, and I just applied it to the spiral, and I thought that was pretty interesting in the spiral. No. Okay, let's open up a new document. All right. Oh, here, let's do the hearts. Okay, the hearts, you can do the same thing here. It can be an area, it can be a line. Okay, we're going to leave it as area, just because. It can be complex fill, the applique, arc, cross stitch, fluid contour, motif, radial, satin, spiral. Okay, let's do a fluid contour just for kicks to see what happens. Left click and drag. Okay, now you have all these little nodes. This will do that. Brings them up and down and in and out. Okay, and this one brings up and down your V in the middle of the heart, and this one works the bottom and the sides. Oh, well, that's kind of neat. And now this is just a fluid contour object. So you can go into stitch settings, and you can go into your fluid contour tab, and I would uncheck use auto shorten. See, and that cleans that up a little there. You can go in and draw guidelines. See if Do that again. Guidelines are, if you don't get it exactly right. Okay, and apply. See? So at this point, now it's just a regular object. You can use it any way you use anything else. Now, mainly what I use the heart for, I do use the heart one, and mainly what I use it for is a template. And because when you try, you want satin hearts a lot, or I do for things. And if you try to make these hearts satin, let's make it smaller because it's too big. It's still too big. But anyway, when you try to make them satin, as you can see, they do weird things. You can't really get a nice satin. So what I use it for, I'll bring it up to 200. I use the heart a lot, but I use it as a template. I get that. I just take my satin tool and I start over here and I left click and I left click and then I right click, left click, left click, whoop, right click, right click. Oh, that didn't get a left click. Okay, left click, right click, right click, left click, left click. Enter. Escape, generate. And now I'll make it smaller because I want it to be set. All right. And then I can make a nice pretty satin heart because I'm a terrible drawer. I certainly couldn't do that freehand. So I use this for templates a lot. Um, if you need bigger hearts, um, you know, you can keep them as complex because when you make them satin, they just get weird. Another neat thing to do with hearts is you can make them a spiral. Change the density to maybe 0.6, and then put an outline around it. And that's not bad. That's kind of a cool looking heart too. But mainly that's what I use that heart punch tool for, is to just use it as a template. Um, let's get rid of the hearts. Okay, now I'm gonna show you something that I think you might want to do, and you might want to make a building block out of it, because I did. Because this is another thing, stars. Okay, we're gonna take the star that's like filled in, that doesn't have all those lines, and I'm gonna make a star. Okay, now I have all these nodes, and this one will open it up. A star is really just a polygon. Okay, I can bring it in, bring it out, can make it roundy. Grab this one. I don't want to do it. There we go. And I can make those rounder. That's the kind of star, like you want when you're doing kind of a country-like thing. Then hit enter and escape. And that's a star. Okay? But, let me get it again. If you look, it says N and it says 5. And that's 5 points. I can make that 10 points if I want. Okay? And now we got 10 points. And they do the same thing with the nodes. You can change them. Round them. Now this might come in handy for some stuff. I can see maybe using this, with different um, amounts of points on it and stuff. So that's kind of cool. And then I do want to show you something cool with the star though. Or I think it's cool, and I think you should make a building block out of it. I did. Um, but with this star, also so you know, you can make it as a line too. So like that. So you can have a line, or you can have a filled object with that. And like I said, as many different points as you want. All right, so I'm going to show you this because I really like this. All right, we're going to do a complex fill star with 5 points. This is just like a regular star and whatever. Now, if you want to make this satin, you just can't. Satin stars, I mean, they just are a mess. You know, they don't ever work out. They don't ever look good. They don't ever work like that. So I made a star. Okay, let's take this up to 200. I made a star, and I'm going to make it a light color. And I want a complex fill just because. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to take my line tool, and I'm going to come right here in this corner, and I'm going to go make a line all the way out to this corner. Hit enter. And I'm going to just come from this corner and go to this corner. And what that does for me is that gives me like the center of the star. Okay? And I want to know that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the star or left click on it up here in the film strip. And we're going to go up to view outline. And I'm going to right click inside there. And then I'm going to divide with a curve. Okay? So now so I can see inside, I'm going to left click on that hand. So now I can see what I'm doing. All right? So you can start out here, hit right at the corner there, come down, hit it in the middle, and then come back out to this corner, enter, and escape, and generate. And I got a segment out of there. Okay? So now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to divide with a curve, and I'm going to hit this so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to come here and hit it right in the corner. And hit it right in the middle. Enter, escape, generate. Now I have 2 segments, and I'm going to do it again. Divide with a curve. Click on my little white hand so I can see. Enter, escape, generate, and do it again. Divide with a curve. Hit my little white hand up there. And divide it. Enter, escape. Okay. I don't need these lines anymore because they were just to help me see where the center was. So now I've got all these little segments. So I'm going to left click on the top one. I'm going to hold my shift key down, and I'm going to left click on the bottom one so that they're all highlighted. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make them satin. And as you can see, that's not a pretty satin, but we're going to fix that. So I right click off to the side and then right click in one section. And we're going to come up here, and this is to see my stitch angles. Okay, and I'm going to fix all my stitch angles. This one has a lot. Okay, generate. Okay, there's one still there that I didn't see. That one. That there, right there. There we go. Okay, my stitch angles are all um, going horizontal in that one. I'm going to do the same thing for this one now. Right there. Generate. Same thing here. Generate. Same thing on that one. Generate. One more. That's the stitch angles. That get you these little lines, and that tell you what direction your stitches are going. You got to get these all. You got to get all the stitch angles they have on there fixed. All right, generate. Okay, put that down to 1 to 1, and it's too big for the satin, so we're going to make it smaller so that the satins come in really nice. Okay. Okay. Now that's a nice satin star, but you can see those lines there. What those are the ins and outs, and that one is. Let me get that a little bit smaller there. There. See that? That's the in and out. So I can get rid of it. It's that one. We're going to bring our in and our out down here. Generate. And there's a pretty nice satin star, I think. So, and it'd be, if you make one of these, I mean, it's a little bit of work, but if you put it in your, um, building blocks, you've got it. You only got to do it one time and you have it. Okay. And if you don't know how to save a building block, okay, come up here to accessories and you see this building block here. You can open building blocks or you can save a building block. So we're going to save the building block. Figure out where you want to put it. Webinar. Let's make that a star. Okay, so now I saved it as a building block. So now I'm going to right click down here. I'm going to open up my building blocks. And here's my webinar category. And there's my star. And all I got to do is bring it in now and forever. So I thought that was pretty neat. And that's uh, like I said, one thing I use these things for. You know, they make some pretty cool building blocks when you do stuff with them. Let's see. Fran wants to know if I use a mouse or a pen. I use a pen, Fran. The hearts don't adjust well with the stitch directions if you use the punch. That's right, Lorena. Like I said, I just use it as a template, and then I just take my satin tool and make my own satin heart. And unless you're going to use it like as a complex fill heart, and then it's fine. Okay, Ellen wants to know how you delete a building block. You delete a building block by going to the building block file. Here, let me show you. I can delete that one. Open up your files. And here's the super text folder, wherever your super text folder is. Then you click on generations, and then here, building blocks. Okay, here's all the different categories and stuff. So here's my webinar one, and then I can go in there, highlight my star, and hit delete. Gone. Okay, I mean, it's just like deleting a regular file. You just have to find it, which, like I said, will be in your SuperTech folder, probably on your C drive, and all your stuff is in there. There's your building blocks. There's your motifs. So all your motifs. Um, Patterns. These are your patterns that for your complex fills and whatever. Your stamp patterns are in there. So they're all just like regular files, and that's all you have to do is go in and find them. So that's how you do that. I'm going to right click here and do that because I don't want that on there. So let me see if there's any more questions. Samantha wants to know what all the buttonholes are in the building blocks. I'm sure they were made just using that buttonhole thing, and those are just buttonholes that are pre-made for you and you can use. So, and I do use them. As I said, I never bothered with that buttonhole thing, but that was just kind of an interesting thing that I was messing with today. Okay, we're not going to get through all of these, but I got another one I want to show. This is something I'm going to show you something I've used before too. We're going to take the moon, okay? And if you see, whichever way you draw it, that's the way it goes. Okay, so this makes it change how big you want your moon. You can take it all the way to a circle, to a full moon. So whatever. Okay, enter, escape. Okay, and that came as a complex because I didn't change it in the little box, although I could have. But I want it to be a satin. Okay, all right, so now I got this little satin moon. And I'm going to right click outside so I can uncheck it. And I'm going to left click on it so I have it marked. And I'm going to turn it that way. Okay, move it over here. I'm going to copy and paste. Hold my control key down. Move it over so they're just touching. Copy, paste. Move it over. Copy, paste. Move it over. Copy, paste. Move it over. Take it down to 75%. I'm going to group all of these. And I'm going to copy, paste that whole thing. Hold my control key down. When I hold my control key down, it moves in a straight line. I can't get it off that plane. So let's take it down to 50% so we can see them. Okay, so now I have all these little moon shapes. Okay, I'm going to left click and drag around them all so they're all selected. And now you can see this is kind of fun. This T over here, that's our super align tool. Okay, so I want to align these on a circle. So that would be on an ellipse, and I want them above the line, and I'm going to click OK, and now I'm going to make a circle. There you go. And they all jump to that circle. Okay, from here, if you see this little arrow here, that pulls them out that way. Okay, and then this one makes your circle bigger or smaller. All right. So I'm going to hit enter and escape, generate, and there's my little circle. I want to make it a little smaller so I don't have those, so my satins are all nice. Okay, now I'm going to take my circle tool and I'm going to make a circle. And I'm going to make it a light color just because I can. And I'm going to turn off 3D and I'm going to make it so I can see the screen. All right, I want this just to catch where they cross over. Here, it's a little much. So as you can see, I've just caught them all just a little bit where they cross over. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here to my colors, and I'm going to left click on the blue, and what that does is it selects all those blue. Okay, I'm going to come up here to view outline. I'm going to right click inside. I'm going to create a void using existing area, and then I'm going to touch in the circle, and it got rid of all those little pieces that were inside. Okay, I don't need the circle anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. All right, now I want to make sure, I want to select all those blue again, and it looks like I cut it a little too close. So I'm going to come up here. I want to make sure they're all connected. I'm just going to move these a little so that I can connect. Okay, I think they're all connected now. You can see it's kind of a nice little frame. Um, and then I want to go up into View Outline, right click inside. I really don't like to merge satins, but this usually works, so we'll see what happens. Almost it worked. There's a couple pieces that weren't connected right, but you can go in and fix those. Okay, so this one's not connected. So I'm going to go in there and look at Edit Outline Mode, pick it up, and just make sure it's connected. I know this seems a little fussy. I'll just make it. But, these are things that, and I'm going to select them all, go back into View Outline, right click, merge again. There, now it's one piece. Now you've got this nice frame, a nice satin frame, all in one piece. Put it in your building blocks. You've got it. I mean, you can frame a monogram. You can do all kinds of things with it. Let me see if there's any more questions. I don't think we're going to get to all the different things. Maybe we can do that another time. Ellen wants to know if it's worth it to buy building blocks from Generations. I've never bought a building block from Generations because I digitize for sale. So I can't use them in any of my designs. They're fine for personal use. So if that's what you want them for, then great. Okay. Ellen says I would make a cute coaster. Ellen, that's exact. I said I had done that before. That's exactly what I used it for. Um, Laura asked how you delete items in your building blocks. Did you miss that? If you need me to show you again, I can do that. Let me know. And Jean wants to know how big you can make the star before it looks bad. I don't know. Let's take a look. Okay, we'll get rid of this. And I'm going to open my building blocks. And I have the star, my star saved in my blocks. Here. That's my star that I keep in my building blocks. All right, I'm going to right click and get rid of that building block bar. And let's see what size this is. This one, an inch is 2.5, so this is a little over an inch. Let's see what it is in inches because that's just it's easier for me. So if you hit P on the keyboard, it brings up the preference setting. I can click inch, hit OK. Okay, so this one is 1.28 inches. So this is about an inch and a quarter. So let's make it a little bigger and see what we get. Okay, that's crummy. That's 2 inches. Oh, and that's 1.75. Let's go in here. I can set them here. I can do 1.5 for 1.5. Generate. See what we get. 1.5. You're getting that funky line. Of course, that's kind of cool because it's all nice in a row. That's not a bad looking thing. So I would probably say 1.25. So 1.25 inches is probably about as big as you can go. And that's not a bad size star. And if you really wanted to make them bigger and keep it satin, here's I haven't done this, but this is something I thought about. I'm going to divide it with a line. Start up here, just come straight down right through it. Enter, escape, generate, and then you could do that. Now, if you did all that, you could make it bigger because now you've you split those. I'm just going to do that one, but let's see how big let's see how big I can make this now. Let's try 2 inches. Generate. See, this is at 2 inches now, and we're still okay there. So let's see what else we can do. Let's try 2.5, 2.5. Okay, generate. See, that's 2.5 inch star. So even if you just split those, so make two building blocks. One where that is the point is split, and one where it's not. How awesome is that? So, okay, any more questions? Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Fran. Yeah, Laura had to let the dog out. So, yeah, Laura, deleting your building blocks is exactly like deleting a file off your computer. You find your SuperTech file, and then in Generations, you open that, and then there's a building block folder, and you just find your building block and delete it. It's just a file on your computer. Um, And Lorena says you can always add a stamp pattern for larger stars. Yeah, any type of satin, when it gets too big, you can add a stamp pattern. You can emboss. You can add a pattern to your satin. Here, we can do some of these things. I'm sure Larry won't complain. It's only 8:04. Okay, you come in satin. You can enable satin fill. Select a pattern. Do that one. Click OK and apply. And now you've got a pattern. It's still satin, but you've got a pattern. Um, Do okay. Let's do this one. Let's do a stamp pattern. That's just like always my favorite. Just click OK. OK. You can do a stamp pattern. And you can emboss it. And you can emboss it just like we did and generate. And you can emboss it and make that line. So there's a lot of different things you can do if to your satins when they get too big. But to me, though, that second one too, I have to make that one because that's a great idea, and I'm going to have that in my building blocks too. But that makes a nice little star. So, any more questions before we finish? Nope, I don't see any more questions. So that's it for the night.
Cool. Thank you very much. And I thank everyone for coming. And maybe next webinar, Holly's computer will be working. Oh no, I think she's scheduled for 2 weeks from now. But
She's scheduled for
anyway,
2 weeks from now. Yeah,
yeah, I
Maria
gotta
should
put,
be next week, so
yeah.
that should be fun.
Well, tomorrow I reinstall Windows and then see what happens after that. Anyway, y'all have a good evening. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was an excellent webinar. Thank you, Karen. I learned a lot. I bet everybody out there did too.
Okay,
Thanks
thank you.
again. Y'all have a good evening. Take
Okay,
care
good
now.
night, everybody.
Good night.